Greetings, fellow slinging agents in the wild. It's that time again. Time for our after-action report for our latest homebrew scenario, Little Treasures. Join me and my fellow hard slinger of yore, Sammy, as we peel back the layers. It was unfortunate that Tone wasn't able to join us, but the man had quite a packed one when this was being recorded. One thing I do want to address, something that during the recording of this season I was unaware, and I'm sure by now you all have listened to this season, is regarding Maul Dyer. Although Sam and I briefly discuss on this episode who she was, while I was putting this thing together, I had no idea that she was who the Blair Witch movie was based on. It's kind of funny because I remember seeing the movie in theaters back in '99, which is basically a lifetime ago, and I had no idea thinking back on it. And also my description of the painting, The Wooden Hag, well, I can't seem to find that painting online anymore, and it's strange, like it served its purpose and now it's gone. Anyways, I want to thank all you fellow slingers for joining us for Little Treasures. Remember, there's going to be a post-season hiatus as I put the finishing touches to our latest scenario, which is Acquired Taste, and then arrange for the other hard slingers and myself to lock in a date. But let's not get sentimental. Instead, let's say it together. Let's warm up our dice and top off our glass as Roll the Hard 20 presents Little Treasures, Episode 10, The After Action Report. And I hope everybody enjoyed this ride. Howdy.
I gotta rename myself here.
Oh, shit.
Itchy. Yeah. All right.
I don't think I need to rename myself. Or do we want to just let this run raw?
That's whatever. I don't care.
Yeah. I'll rename myself then. Where's the rename? Brain. Your trusted handler, Brain. My brother, how have you been? Seems like it's been forever since we sat on the opposite side.
Yeah, it's been minutes. Many minutes.
Yeah, since the virtual eye of destiny. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have our own little one-on-one after-action report for our latest Delta Green homebrew scenario, Little Treasures. And I figured we'd probably do it in a different way than we normally do it, rather than me going down the whole thing and you guys chiming in, because there's not you guys unless you want to call yourself a plural. We'll just have a rapport back and forth. I know that you and I, by the way, let me lead us in here first and we could go.
Please.
Greetings, fellow slinging agents in the wild. It is I, your trusted handler, Brian, and with me, my hard slinger of yore, Samwise.
Omawa.
Yeah, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to kind of peel back the onion on our latest Delta Green homebrew scenario, Little Treasures. And I know Sam and I, we talked about this at length, that to kind of fill in the time that we have between seasons, that we were just maybe drop a one-on-one, where we just kind of talk about this or talk about that, just so we have some material to put out there when we start getting a little thin. And I think what we're going to do is we're just going to drop this one as we go over Little Treasures. So let's just kind of pick it up from there and talk about the AP together and what you liked, what you didn't like, what you thought was kind of intriguing. Let's talk about the investigation to start off with. You and Tone had been called out to Marblehead, Massachusetts, to investigate these 7 children that have gone missing, all under the age of 2, over the past 3 years. None of these bodies have been found. There's been no ransom notes. There's been no personal effects that have been found by anybody. And Heisenberg actually had a personal stake in this. I think he had mentioned at the beginning that he had one of his child had gone missing when he was with one of the police forces, and they never found her. And so this really hit him close to the heart, and he needed you guys to make this happen.
Well, we did. Yeah, this was one of the darker scenarios that we've played. I mean, they all are pretty dark, but when it's, with, you know, the wee little ones involved, that's always rough. Even if it's just a game, it's like it really sets the tone to be like a little bit more serious.
Yeah, we kind of went in the opposite direction of like the UFO one or the Doc Rondal with the voodoo-esque and the dark entity popping in and out, or even some of the other stuff that we had done with Hitler's father. Weird shit like that. But this is more of a darker AP. Now, I had put a few red herrings out there, a few suspects for you guys to try to go through. I kind of kept you guys in the city, but I let you guys interview the suspects however you wanted to, whether it was going through Abby's Little Treasures daycare or investigating Father Jack Miller, who recently came to Marblehead 3 years ago. I don't know if you noticed, but everybody seemed to have been on point as of 3 years ago.
Yeah, I was noticing that. Even the person of interest that later on, I think Margaret was there at the daycare for like 2 or 3 years or something.
3 years, yeah. She was 21, which means...
Let me look up my notes too.
Yeah, she got the job right out of high school. And as you guys went through the whole investigation, you realized that she was actually part of this. She was the daughter of Madame Corinne Sullivan, who owned this witchery shop called Madame Sullivan's Scrying Eye. And she had been hired by the parents of all the missing children as they had gone missing to try to scry where their children had gone to, as a way of trying to circumvent the police, because the police were unable to do anything to locate these children. So they were paying her $400 a pop for every session that they had. And there's a set of parents that had twins, and she made them pay double. It's got it right in the notes. Had you asked her those pertinent questions, it would have come out that she was charging them $800 per session, because both of the twins had gone missing. So
one of the things I never got a chance to follow up, we never got the chance to talk to the Kathleen Stevens, I don't believe.
No, you didn't.
And why did she slap Wallace, the detective? Was it because he was just kind of just throwing stuff under, like, yeah, we're trying to do our best, but like, why did she slap him?
I think, well, it's written in the AP that it was out of frustration that he hadn't been able to find Maggie yet. And she had been in his office several times over the last 3 days, calling all the time. And it's also written in that he's a weak detective.
Yeah.
And so when she came and approached him last, she just got frustrated and slapped him. And I think at this point...
Go ahead, brother.
I was going to say, at this point, she had already been going to the madam, who was basically telling Miss Stevens that the police aren't going to be able to do anything for you. You're wasting your time with them.
She knew for sure too.
Well, yeah, I mean,
well, it was really good, because at first I thought maybe there was something going on with her and the detective, and that their kid, was the most recently missing one. So she was angry at him for not doing it. Then when we were dealing with the Felix Hammond guy, the maintenance man from Little Treasures, and he seemed like he could be a culprit, and then we sort of discerned that he wasn't, because he seemed to be very well liked by the kids, and then also just seemed like he was a broken individual. Not in the murderous type way, though. But then when the detective Wallace was like, yeah, we think we got our guy, I'm like, oh, he may be involved. Like, there were so many times I thought he was more involved. And then after we talked with Detective Preston, the first
former
detective on the case, the former guy, when he said, yeah, this guy just kind of goes by and waits for something to get solved, and it's like, oh, okay, he's pinning it on the guy because he wants this. He thinks it's done. It's, this is good, we got him. Like, he doesn't really have an investigative bone, and he was just a kind of trying to shuffle it off, get it done, and have everything go back to status quo.
Yeah, I try to give as many of these NPCs a three-dimensional look to them where they weren't just people on a paper, that they actually had a past and the way how they operated. And with Wallace, I remember my wife and I, we were watching something to do with true crime, and it was this.
Yeah, she likes those shows.
Yeah, she does.
Always drifting off to them.
When I was watching these detectives, and I think it was in Texas or whatever, they were solving this crime, and they made it sound like they did this monumental job of solving it, but really they just happened to find a dead body across the street where these bums were at, and one of the bums ended up turning himself in, and like they made it sound like they solved this massive murder, and I'm like, it was complete luck that this guy did this, that he turned himself in. Because the way that they were trying to figure things out, it wasn't going to get solved anytime soon. And so I envisioned Wallace as being that way, where, you know, if something got solved, it was usually because he happened upon the result, or somebody turned themselves in, or was a murder-suicide, you know, that he really wasn't very good at his job. And you could tell because immediately he focused in on Hammond when you guys brought him in.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, this has got to be the culprit. And all the kids at one point had gone to Abby's Little Treasures daycare. This guy had been there for 3 years. He lives in the YMCA on Children's Island. And everything just fit, and he cut the corners to make it fit.
Yeah. And then he ended up dying, hanging himself or whatever. Was that his own doing, or did they help?
I don't know if I want to say either way. I think I would leave that open to interpretation, because I know that you had hinted on that a couple times, that he was probably going to wind up getting suicided in his cell. And I was like, well, it could go either way. And I kind of want people to be left with this bad taste in their mouth about Wallace.
The only time, I think that the guy killed himself, because once I found out Wallace wasn't a dude involved in this or murderous or had any real reason to pin it on this guy, other than so his caseload would be less, I figured that the guy probably just killed himself, because he was nuts.
Yeah.
And, Wallace didn't seem like murderous to me. Like there's no reason for him to do that.
There's a movie came out a long time ago called The Pledge with Jack Nicholson. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Benicio is this crazy, like, native individual, and they're trying to pin this murder on him. And it's quick, and it's in the beginning. He ends up killing himself, but he's totally innocent. He just wasn't right upstairs. And that's how I felt about Hammond, that this guy really wasn't right upstairs, and that when he got put in jail, that's what he had done. And it wasn't written in the AP that he gets arrested. He was just a suspect. A lot of this stuff was very fluid in how things evolved based on how you guys ran through the investigation. Now, some things are hardwired in it, but other things were not. So,
yeah, I was thinking about that last night, the differences between how Ichi has evolved as a character, where he still has elements of his sort of compassionate nature. Like he went out of his way not to hurt Hammond, who was confronting him with a knife, who was crazy and all that. Yet each did not have a moment's hesitation when the young blonde lady, 3 years out of high school, he just cut down right there, like without even, all he asked was one thing, can the children be brought back or something like that? And like, they're perfect. It's like, all right, you're done. Didn't even try to reason or anything like that. And I just got goosebumps right now. That was fun. But I really like that evolution of the character, how he can still go from the sort of original each character to the one that's a little like I wouldn't even say hardened. Like he's not like this is, caused him to become all grizzled and jaded. It's like, no,
he's convicted.
There's like no reason to, it's like, okay, this is where we are. There's no reason to try to turn the light on, turn the light off. That's
Yeah, he's a man of conviction now, the way I see it. Because that whole thing happened in the span of a day. Like, he didn't consider, in my opinion, he didn't consider Hammond a threat. He was just somebody that didn't have it all together. He was flailing with his attacks, and you didn't see him as worthy of dying.
Well, he was almost like as a child.
Yeah,
Like he
well,
was not there. It'd be like hurting a child. Like,
but
you know,
this woman, Margaret Anderson, she was this sweet, blonde, blue-eyed young woman, and you see that she is not what her appearances portray her as being. You
raised by
know,
a single mother. See, it happens all the time.
and then
That's a
you
joke.
let's let's move on to one of the other suspects. My favorite one, in fact, Father Jack Miller.
Yeah.
Now, that was one of those things that I knew what he was, but you guys didn't. And it took you guys forever to get back to this dude's house. Like to come around to asking him. Because you guys started off at Our Lady of Mercy Church and found out he wasn't there. And it was so it could get you guys to his house and start having that conversation with him. But I think you had already talked to the Stevens and then the Hausers. And
Well, that was more important, I thought.
okay,
I thought
yeah,
it was more important
run
to
me
talk
through
to them.
run me through that stuff. Like, what made you go with the way you went first? Because you went to the Stevens first, right?
We went to everyone but him. Like we went to him last because I thought it more important to talk to the families of the recently missing, like the Stevens, getting whatever info we could. That was more important. Going to the daycare was more important because every single kid went there.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy didn't even remember all the people that went to his church. Like he clearly, it wasn't like. To me, it was more of a stretch. To me, the first link was the daycare, and then sure, maybe it's a small place, Marblehead. They all go to this church, but I don't know. It didn't seem to be as strong of a pull to me as the other stuff did. And then when we were talking to him, he definitely seemed fishy, but it didn't seem like he was involved with that either. But something was going on, and I really liked that play, that session where Adesso is trying to keep him distracted. I mean, how realistic it might be, I don't know. For a movie though, it's like that I could totally
Yeah.
see that as a movie, like him trying to open the doors quietly and put stuff in the way, and I'm going down this dark hallway and this dungeon area while it's like then it cuts to Adesso, then it cuts to me. It's like we don't know what the hell's down there. I'm expecting finding zombie kids and shit like that. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
really, really frightening.
You find out he's been plucking up the hitchhikers between Salem and Marblehead.
Yeah.
And he's not who he appears to be. He's actually this entity, like a reptilian type entity, who's been eating the things that he kills.
Is that a you thing
kidnaps.
or is that from a book?
That's from
Did you
me.
come up with it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What are they
it's-
called? Do you know?
I wrote him in as a hunter, I think is what he was called. Let me see because I have his stats here. Not that really matters, but
And is it more like lizard, serpentine? Is
he's
it
called a
more
hunter serpent, is what he is.
hunter serpent?
Yeah.
I'd love to find out how. So that's what he was, right? It wasn't like he was a man and then got bit by something and turned into it. That's just what he was.
Yeah, he's a
wearing
cryptid.
Yeah, he was wearing the cloak of the
And
holy.
that's how he was getting these individuals to come into the car with him. And, oh, yeah, looking for a ride into Marblehead or looking for a ride into Salem. Oh, sure, I got time. I could get you. Sure, let's hop on in. Man of the cloth gets him in the car. That's it.
Yeah.
Puts him down with some poison that he has because he actually has something to demoralize individuals. He's also got a blinding spit, which I didn't get an opportunity to give to you guys, which would
That
have
would've been
caused
rough.
a negative 20% on all attacks. Yeah, he had a venom aspect to him as well, and so it was kind of cool to see when he started changing. You're like, this isn't even a guy we're dealing with, and he's not even on anybody's radar.
Yeah.
You guys went to the guy's house thinking he was a red herring, and he was for all the children's deaths.
Yeah.
But Yeah.
So how did we do in this? Were there areas that we missed that you would have wished that we would have covered, or were there areas that we kind of spent too much time on, or like what do you, as a handler, how did your game play, like in terms of
There were
your
certain
balance?
areas, like when you guys had gone to the Hausers, I needed you guys to go there because this guy supposedly was able to stop something that never happened from happening, which was
Power of role playing games,
yeah,
dude.
which was the abduction of his son, and there was something that was trying to get in to take him. Well, actually, fortunately for him, the
Yeah.
kid aged out, so he became no longer a problem. But not that there was a long time being spent there, but the ash outside the window, you were able to collect that.
The
I think
mirror.
that's sometimes some of the interactions might have gone a little longer, but if you look
Didn't
at
we
it, we've
get the
only.
ash at the mirror at the Stevens?
What about that?
We got the ash at the
At the
Stevens,
Stevens,
and
but
then he gave
outside of
us
the
his.
window at the Hausers, there was. He was told that there was ash
Yeah.
outside.
Well,
You
he
guys
told
didn't.
us.
Yeah, you guys didn't
Yeah.
collect it.
No.
Preston had that,
Yeah.
so it all went really. It got where it needed to go. Sometimes it might have seemed a little clunky. One of the things that I was hoping you guys would do is do a little more investigation at the scrying eye, because there was that curtain that was hanging in the back, and I was hoping that you guys would find a reason to go through it, because you would have seen a
I wanted
tables.
to. I wanted
What's
to, but we were trying to follow her.
oh
Like we went outside to talk about stuff, and then because we could, I was thinking that we could break in. That's Ichi's specialty. He's always doing that kind of shit now. Is like, creeping in and breaking through the back door. Hey now, and but
it,
when she started leaving, I'm like, we gotta follow her.
it went the right way, because if you had broken in, I don't know narratively how you would have been able to follow her, unless you asked where she lived and then you went to Baker's Island
Yeah,
because
maybe
you knew she
Heisenberg.
lived there. Yeah, that probably would have been using Heisenberg. It's
It was better this way because it was tense. It was like trying to
yeah,
break into her car, find out where, and then, well, we can't go on that ferry because, I'm thinking it's those big like New York ferries where there's like 50 cars
yeah,
on it, but it was like a little tugboat.
yeah. It is. It's a small boat. That
Yeah.
Handler uh, Chandler Hovey Park is a place that really exists, and that's where people take the ferry to go to these islands. They go out of that area.
But Baker's Island's real, huh?
Yeah, yeah. All those islands are real.
Because you
Satan
sent me
Rock.
that artwork, yeah,
Yeah.
or the maps.
But like there was a point where you were following her and she turned south, and you knew that Abby's Little Treasures daycare was to the north,
Hmm.
and you wanted to follow up on whether or not Margaret Anderson was still at the daycare. And I was like, all right, well, which way are you guys going to go?
Yeah.
And had you gone to the daycare first, you would have found out she had left about 20 minutes ago, which
I
had been
didn't
how.
think, uh, I didn't think she was involved, Margaret.
Really?
No, I thought maybe that she worked at that place and that's what the Madam Sullivan was using, like her proximity there. And she could, like, not that this would be it, but maybe she gave her a ring and the ring would, like, she could see through the ring or some sort of thing where she could pick the kids that she wants and stuff. And she would do that. So it wasn't like, to me, it would be too obvious if Margaret was like working there and choosing the kids. So I didn't even think about that. And then it's like, oh, you fucker, you got me that way. Because, I thought that she was there to kind of be a link to, oh, well, fucking Margaret, they got a kid named or a person named Margaret. Oh, we should go talk to her and find out what she says. And then that would provide more information. And
Well,
then when
I
she was gone, I'm like, oh, okay, well, the mom let her know what's up. Maybe she's trying to get her away from it. I didn't had no idea that she was part of it as well.
I didn't know it. I don't think I said how long she had been there for
Yeah, 3 years. I have
annually.
it on my thing.
I said that she was 21 and she started there right after high school.
Yeah, Margaret
Which,
Anderson, Secretary 3. That's one of
oh,
my
did it say
notes.
3? Okay, well,
Yeah.
I didn't know if you just made the connection from 18 to 21 that
You
was how
know,
long.
I really wanted to find out more information from I keep wanting to call her Mother Abigail for some reason, Abigail Murphy, the director of the place, about when she was missing. And
Yeah.
you know, my notes are very, because I was just jotting them down. At 14, she was missing for months in Warren, Ohio. The cult of the Sunset Red, Mahoning River, 8 other girls. Like I hadn't. Does that have any tie into this at all?
Not to this story.
Okay, great. Okay, I love when that kind of shit happens.
Yeah.
Like the picture.
Yep.
I fucking picked up on that from.
Yep.
I remember I only looked at like one or two pictures on that boat in. It's not Lot 27.
Yeah.
What
It
was
was
it?
lot
It was
27.
Lot 27. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
no, that was
It,
no, it
it
was
was
the other one.
collateral damage.
Collateral. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where with the Eugene the Wise or whatever. But I
Yeah.
remember seeing those other paintings, and one of them I vaguely remember trees with roots that looked like people or something.
Yeah. Because
And
we
I saw
introduced
that.
his paintings in lot 27, and then you got to meet him in collateral
Yeah.
damage and
Oh,
see some
okay.
of his artwork, and then the artwork reflected what went on in this AP. So
Yeah, and I remember because there's so many. It's not like D&D where you can just kind of wander around and look at everything and all that. Like I had to sneak around a room when the priest was talking. Like that was the only way we could really get information in
yeah.
this place. And same with her. We couldn't just be sitting there poking around. Let me see that book. Can I see that book? Can I see this thing? Like you have to kind of take it in and jot down notes. Like there would been so many things that I wanted to find out more info on. Like in that episode, I wanted to look at all the paintings on the wall and see what they were. And I only vaguely got to see them. Like some of them I didn't even get to see, I don't think. I only looked at the one that was of Adesso and Ichi. Like I remember
Yeah.
looking at that. But
Of like you guys on different positions and holding
yeah,
each other. Yeah. Yeah. Wearing
but
each other's clothes and shit. It was really
that's
cool.
the thing about this. You can't get all the information you want. That's why I love these after action reports because I can get a lot of what's Sunset Red? Is that anything?
Well, we'll talk about this when we go and have our brothers weekend where we're
Oh,
going to go
okay.
through and start discussing this. I don't want
Okay.
to talk about it until it becomes the pinnacle point of the next
Yeah.
season, which
Yeah.
is probably looking like the way it will go. So,
And the kids too. Like I have my notes are pretty bad or just rushed. 7 years ago, 4 kids missing, sporadic over 18-month period, Preston in charge. So there were how many kids missing in this one? Seven?
7 in this one,
And then
and
four.
4 went missing 7 years ago.
But that makes only 11. Where'd the 12th head come from? Wasn't there
That's
12 heads?
There was.
See, that's what I want to find out. That's the stuff we can't really.
See, you know what's funny is I was wondering if you were going to get that
Yeah,
because
that's
I
just
was
we
like,
can't do it in the episode because
yeah,
it's like now we're in combat. Now we're like,
yeah.
you know.
But it's one of those things like, remember Predator 2 when Danny
Yeah,
Glover
with the
comes on
alien
board
head.
and he sees the alien skull?
Yeah,
And it's just for a moment. But
yeah.
it's not what dominated the scene, but people are like, wait a second, what did we just see that? And then the rest of the movie goes on. So like with this, you're counting, okay, we got 4 missing bodies and 7 missing bodies. Now there's 12 skulls. And then all of a sudden, Maul Dyer comes out, and you don't have time to start thinking about this.
Yeah.
And now you got to go scorched earth on this whole island. And it's like,
Well, the thing too is like this happened over the course of a day, basically.
yeah, it went
It's like it's
fast.
not like yeah, like that's one of the fun things about this is it happens so fast you don't get a lot of time to just plot around and do stuff. And when you do, it feels like you're wasting time. Like the one of the worst things was when we were trying to in one of the older episodes, the Camaro one, I think we're looking for alarm systems in someone's attic. I'm like,
Yeah,
we're
that was
just
just
out.
burning time, man.
Yeah, we're just, out. Well, we were trying to figure out how something like this could happen, thinking like, oh, well, maybe they think it's supernatural, but it's like, no, anytime in this game, and you could probably use this against us too. I'm erring on the side that it's supernatural, it's monsters and all that. So it's like as soon as I get the feeling of like, okay, this guy's just a normal dude, he's just nuts. I'm not
Well,
going to hurt him. And then it's like, hey, Margaret, what are you doing? Up, she's right. My hackles are up. Time to put her down.
look at Lot 27. It had the essence of bringing something supernatural in,
Hmm.
but you were dealing straight up with a cult. There
Yeah.
was no evil entity. You
I
were
love cultists.
fighting.
They're so weak.
Yeah, well,
It's like
you know,
fighting children.
yeah, but they're like, there's a certain methodology that's going on. Even when you did Safe House, which will be
Hmm.
released at the front end of this season, I'm going to
Oh, yeah.
release it as a prologue. You were dealing with individuals, humans, but you had a specific mission that you had to take care of this remote viewer. And so who knows if that'll come into play later on.
That was fun.
That was a
That
good one.
was fun. This is coming out obviously before that or no?
No, Safe House will come out before this. It'll be the
Oh,
prologue to this
well, I hope you
season.
guys like Safe House. That was just a really fun epilogue that turned into a little mini adventure, and that was just super fun.
Well, it'll be the prologue. I won't make it the epilogue of the last season.
Oh,
So
oh, okay. Well, yeah,
yeah.
that was fun. It was an epilogue where we were just tightening stuff up or whatever, but it was just fun doing a quick little 1 hour session like that.
One of the things that I was hoping that you would do, and I think we were briefly touching on this and then kind of segued off, but the curtain that was in the scrying eye, what was behind it, and you didn't get an opportunity to actually go back there, and you would have found that it was set up similar to the witch's sanctum that's on the island. There was a round table with a silver bowl filled with liquid, candles. Only these candles were out, and there was another circle of ash around it. And you could tell that this is where she was doing her scrying for the parents.
Yeah.
But she was doing more than just that. She was picking her next targets via this way as well. Now, at the witch's sanctum, where you had that portal, was basically a frame without a mirror in there. That's what they were using to go through the reflective surface and pull the children into it.
Yeah.
So you guys were dead on with that initially. I think Tone had picked up on that. So
Yeah, I'm also going to try to figure a way, Ichi's going to try to figure a way to let the parents know that that are still alive, that their children were found, or that it's over. That while
yeah.
their children can't be returned, they now will, are at least at rest if people believe that sort of thing. But give them some sort of closure. Yes, they passed on. Yes, they've been avenged. And that's, I think, what each is going to start doing in these missions, is not just leaving it open-ended, but giving closure to people. Like when he sent the katana back to, I forget his name,
Hanzo Shimura.
Hanzo, yeah. When he sent that back to his family. Now his family may come after me, it's not that I put an address, but they may, investigate. But, I'm going to do that.
Did you ensure
too.
that shipping? No.
Yeah. Yes. But I'm going to let the Stevens know. I'm going to let Hauser know in some way, whether it's vague or what. I want that to be part of each's kit, where he's like, no, I'm closing chapters for people.
And that's listeners, this is how we start usually beginning the next season, is we start thumbing ideas off of each other like this. Like we'll probably start with you coming in from
recording.
probably have you coming in after having delivered the news to the last living parents of the latest child missing. Who knows, maybe you even gone back and dealt with the 4 previous children that went missing 7 years prior and told them too. And so you coming in just exhausted, but knowing that you've managed to deliver the news to all the sets of parents that were still alive, that hadn't taken matters into their own hands. And
the detective too.
Yeah. Preston, definitely.
Yeah. And, I want to do, even though I was giving him kind of some shit in the episodes, it was trying to get him to break and trying to get him to either give up any information he had. It wasn't anything, it's like I'm apologizing. It wasn't anything personal.
Well, that would be fucking great. I'll chat with someone we end this thing. I don't want to text you in the middle of it. That's usually what we do. We're texting.
You can just talk to me right now. You don't have to text me. Yeah, but I think telling what's his name, Stevens and his wife, um, letting them know that unfortunately their kid. I don't know what's going to happen to that island. I'd love to see what happens or hear what happens to the tree, if there's any kind of discovery of children's bones that they found, but then they're like, oh, it's a mass grave, or something
Well,
like
after
that.
the explosion, who knows? Now,
Yeah.
I will tell you this though: there's nothing in the tree any longer. It's been devouring the bodies of these children that have been buried into it. Had you opened up the refrigerator, you would have seen portions of the bodies in there.
Ugh. I would guess I probably would have seen him because I was searching for something that could be combustible.
I didn't think you would look in the
So
refrigerator for something combustible, but
yeah, vodka,
the
baby.
the metal item that was attached to the counter with the handle, that was an
Grinder.
old style meat grinder.
Yeah, you're sick, you pig. So were they eating it or
it,
just throwing like meat to the tree?
they were putting the bodies in there and taking the organs out. And if you had looked in the well, you never
Oh, no, we
ventured
didn't have
back to the well.
time.
It was filled of a black ichor, which was coagulating blood.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to pull up the cord or whatever and see what was down there, but we had to get into the house, we had to
That would
get
have been a
off the
sanity
island.
check too. Opening the refrigerator would have been a sanity check.
I'm glad I was like my breaking point is 40 and I was at like 46.
Yeah, and those go fast. I mean, if you pass, usually you take a point. If you
Yeah.
fail, look at there's 2 points right there.
Yeah, and we
There's
still
three
don't
points right
know.
there. Boom.
And we still don't know what happens when each breaks sanity, what with his blessing and curse that he
Yeah,
has.
I mean, I think all in all, is there anything that you wanted revealed or that you thought was kind of ambiguous or that you wanted to find some clarity on?
No, this one was pretty good. The extra skull, I'd love to figure out what that was. I'd love to figure out how you came up with the name Mole Dyer. Like I actually looked it up. Mole is like a, you know, gang chick, prostitute, whatever, and Dyer is also, someone who dyes stuff. I didn't know if it was like
It's a real person.
oh, it is?
Yeah,
Well, a real myth or
she was accused of witchcraft back in the 1600s.
okay.
And she
I
actually
loved her
came
ability.
over. Let me see if I can find the information real
I
quick.
loved her spell she cast where I could smell the burning and
Yeah, that was something
all that. That was really good.
yeah.
Should have had my guy exhaling smoke.
Let's see if I gotta find it. Sorry, guys, I gotta look through my stuff real quick. Shit. Could it be at the scrying eye? It's probably
Yeah, this one was
here.
one of the. Well, I mean, they're all, kind of eerie and creepy, but this one, I don't know. This one felt like more along the lines of a scary movie in the vein of Ritual or The Witch. Like it was kind of a dark, slow burn compared to just a, jump scare movie.
Well, ironically, we started recording this just before Halloween. So
Yeah.
I know people will hear about it probably towards the latter part of the year once I finish all the editing. But Mull Dyer, if Madame Sullivan is asked, she says the woman in the picture's name is Mull Dyer, who came from York aboard the Sovereign in the 1600s. And she was back then believed to be, well, it is a witch, but I said a powerful woman. But yeah, she was a real person back then.
Wow.
In
Yeah,
fact,
that's cool.
you could research it. There's a picture of her, and it's called the Wooden Hag.
Oh,
Yeah, and she's fucked up looking in the picture. So when you come to the other picture at the witch's sanctum, and she's all beautiful looking, her skin is nice, her hair is luxurious. She's still standing in front of those trees, but now her eyes are these onyx gems, these multifaceted onyx gems, and she's in the picture. She's looking at you guys and blinking, and then
yeah.
comes out of the picture, and that's the final boss fight, which I was waiting for that. I'm like, these guys are taking out these two witches pretty fast. I wonder if they're going to get confident.
Well, the only reason why we take them out fast is because we are not confident that we can take them out. We got to go
No, I meant like
work on them.
you made quick work of them.
Oh,
Like
no, I
they
know.
really weren't a threat. And I was like, I wonder if they're going to feel confident about that. And
Well, what I meant was like any one of these people that don't seem like a threat, I actually count them as a threat level 100 thing. Everything we face in here, except
Oh yeah,
cultists. They're like wimps.
almost everything could be brought to an extinction level.
Yeah,
You know,
that's when it turns on is that's what the combat's about. It's extinction level. Like it's not like a D&D combat. It's, you're getting internal burning from, psychic memories of witch fire, and you're getting losing sanity, and losing, willpower. It's like it's really,
well,
really scary.
as an example, we just did D&D right before we recorded this, and we did a combat, and it lasted almost a full session, and it was a lot of give and take, moving around, moving around. In DG, I mean, it's only like a few turns, like
Yeah.
maybe two, three on the outside, and people are dropping, they're dying, they're getting wounded fast, they're taking damage, and you don't just shrug it off and pop a healing potion. No, man, you go
Yeah.
down and you're still bleeding out and you're
Well,
still
each
hurting.
was hurt. He got hit multiple times. Like
Yeah,
he was down to like half his hit points. And he only has 14.
yeah. Well, that's still pretty beefy for.
Yeah. Well, it's based off your constitution, I
Yeah,
think.
that's still good though.
And each, like for those who are playing, I took the criminal kit, and it has the same basic stats as D&D, power being wisdom or whatever, but the skills that I had, it's a 14 uh, strength, a 15 dex, a 13, I think it's a 13 constitution maybe, and then 10 for intelligence and 10 for power. He's not like super studied or super wise or anything, but he's very, at least for this system, very physically capable. Not super muscular, not overly dexterous, but it's kind of he's kind of really well balanced on that, compared to the others. Had I built him, I probably would have put him with more dex and less strength. But that's the paper that Handler gave me, and then I just sort of nuanced it a little bit. But yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm used to playing Dungeons and Dragons with characters that get plus fives to hit and plus this and plus that. It's like we don't have shit in this.
And
You got
we've
your percentile roll, and that's it.
and we've added a few things to our repertoire of skills, and I think we've been playing them through for the last couple of seasons. Our
Mhm.
instinct and intuition, observation, uh, starting to implement the morale check, and then we have victimology, demonology, and criminology. So these are
Mhm.
things we're kind of playing around with, trying to fine tune them on our off time to see how they would play out when we do a in game play with them. But I think for the
Mhm.
most part, we've done really well with the observation and the intuition and stuff. So
And I
they
like
haven't
too
they
that
haven't
the
broke the game. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's just a skill thing, really,
yeah,
And then what was great was for instinct, which was a new skill, right? It's instinct, right?
yes,
Or a new ability, whatever it is,
hmm
modifier. We got to roll for that, and I actually rolled a 14 on that, which is pretty good. So my instinct, while I'm not super learned or super wise, my instinct is really good, and that's actually perfect for like a criminal class. Like they got the instinct. Well, most criminals are stupid, but
you're a
really, but like
sophisticated kind of stupid
yeah,
though.
but I'm like De Niro on there. I heard that little bump, and it's like mission's over. Let's go. And
Yeah,
that's how from Heat, and that's how Ichi is now when it comes to combat. It's like there's a switch that happens, and it's like okay, I know that this okay. And he hasn't been wrong yet. Maybe accidentally that switch will be wrong and I accidentally kill an innocent, but it hasn't happened yet.
well, so far it's been serving us well. And if any of you listeners out there would like to know this list, email me at worldhard20podcast@gmail.com. I'll go ahead and send you a copy of it if you want.
Yeah, and if you want the characters too, we got, a deso in each if you want to take a look at what the actual stats are of it's funny, it's so very bare bones. The only things
Yeah,
that improve is when you fail. So now my melee combat, instead of being at a 50 is at a 53, and my alertness, instead of being at a 70, is a 72 or something. So
yeah, and
it
that's
goes
from
up.
the failures and stuff. It
Yeah.
starts increasing that number, helping you, which is nice. So, Well, I'm excited. I know it took me a while to finally finish the writing of this. I mean, it seems like I've been talking about doing this AP forever.
It was worth it. It was really fun. I keep saying that each one, it's like, oh, it's the most fun one so far. But it's, what's great is they're all these last from like lot 27 onward. I can only attribute it as like the when Maiden came out and it was like Number of the Beast, Peace of Mind, Power Slave, Somewhere in Time. Like each one of those is like just fucking awesome, and same with like Metallica, their first, you know, 4 albums or whatever, fucking awesome, like or up until, say Justice. But that's how it is. Like these past 4 or 5 adventures have all been like equally awesome and kind of I think shining examples of the gameplay of what it could be. It's not plotting, it's very quick, it's got more supernatural elements, it's not just boring, espionage spy stuff. And I think that's really what's really been intriguing to me in this is that there's that supernatural element to our characters now. Like I said, it's like X-Men and X-Files together. It's super cool.
Yeah, and we played a little pulpy too.
Yeah, so, I love that. Like the Shadow and the Conan story. It's like,
yeah. So
love that.
Yeah, and as long as I maintain your guys' attention, for the most part, without picking for toothpicks, that really resonates with me. Because the last thing I want to do is spend all this time putting together a story and it falls flat. That's hard. I mean, if I'm going through something, I start thinking, oh fuck, did I make a mistake with this? Is this not what I thought it was in my mind? But so far, you guys have enjoyed the rides, and I can't say that any of them sucked. Personally, I think they all had good qualities about them. It kept your interest. It kept us going hard, and I really liked how Lot 27 turned out. I really liked Collateral Damage. I think as a huge AP, Collateral Damage was like Pink Floyd The Wall. It was like 2 albums. It was big. And I was hoping this would do what it did. And I was noticing as I kept doing the rewrites that it just started flowing really well. And it played out really well too. I think we busted this out in 7 episodes. With the 7th one, we ran for 2 hours straight.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'd love to see if these could get out to the listeners and have the listeners play it and record it, even if it's not on super great recording stuff. I'd just love to hear how other people play these campaigns. Obviously, they will never be as great as Ichi and Adesso. That's a challenge. So
well, James Wachter asked for a copy of Deep Waters, so I emailed him a copy of that, and I don't know if he's ran it for his home group yet or what. He hasn't got back to me. I think he said he was going to, and so I still look forward to hearing how that turned out with him. So
that's a great one too, because it could be really short, a few episodes, it could be done over the course of an evening.
Yeah. It's real fast, digestible entertainment.
Yeah. One location.
Yep.
And it's gonna sink, so you gotta
go moving. That's the thing. You always got to make sure that your NPCs have the shelf life of a carton of milk left in the sun. Everybody's perishable. Like I think we'll wrap it up with this part, but I know that when you were dealing with Felix Hammond, you were saying, I know that the handler wants me to kill this guy because he's an NPC.
Yep, and if I don't, he'll end up hanging himself, killing himself. Suicide by double tap gunshot to the head.
Yeah, but I just, I don't like I don't like them lingering around. They're like old fish.
The handler is more Fiend Folio than he is Monster Manual.
Yeah, this man has known me since before I was of age to drive. So
I knew you before you even knew you.
I know, right? Ooh, damn.
I know your depths, handler.
Well,
7.5.
I think that about wraps up what we got. I think we got what we needed to get for this. And if anybody else has any more questions about Little Treasures, please feel free to write in at worldofhard20podcast@gmail.com. Check me out. Ask me any question you want. Ask Sam any question you would like, or even Tone any question you have for him. And we'll get back to you.
Yeah, keep listening. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, because they're going to keep coming.
Yeah, we're gonna get rid of all these supernatural horrors that are invading the world, but we need you to help by listening.
They're all whores.
Supernatural horrors. Good name for a band.
Yeah. All right, brother.
All right.
Good night.
Night.
Thank you for joining us once again on Roll the Hard 20 podcast. Remember, you can find us and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora Radio, iHeart Radio, Amazon Podcasts, and Audible. And if you like what you're listening to, be sure to leave us that 5-star rating and review. Don't forget about our YouTube channel at Roll the Hard 20. So if you're into watching and you want to help support this show, then head on over and hit that subscribe button. It really does help the show out. We can also be found in the wild on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so don't forget to look for us there and check us out. You can also contact the show directly at rollthehard20podcast@gmail.com or head on over to the website at rollthehard20podcast.com, where you can download the current show directly, pick and choose past shows from our archives, or view our galleries. We've got a lot of stuff posted over there, so check us out. And finally, join us on our Patreon at patreon.com/rollthehard20podcast, where you can become a hard slinger and pick up swag. So until next time, keep your dice warm and your glass topped off as you roll those hard 20s.